Let's get to the bottom of this one. Unspoken truths that I miss one. Tap into the minds of the people, rather acknowledge before I dismiss one. Atheists, Muslim, Christians, Buddhists, they all got usage. All got perspective, it's a collective. Get to the bottom where the truth is. Where the heart's uncovered. Where you detox from all of the lies you smothered. Where them tries could have killed you, but with faith you recover. Yup. Peel off the makeup, we finna take off. Never said it'd be a cakewalk. Meditate till we charged up. Execute goes regardless. Decalcify my pineal. Breaking language barriers, we saw millennials. Planets passing age rotations, down me we owe. So down me we know. Sometimes we can be slow, that's why my ears open. Every drop you add could complete the ocean. Speak up, play your part too. Been vulnerable, it's so hard to.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kimberly with Unseen Twisted Truths. We are the People's Podcast, and I have Henry.
Hi.
And then I have Kendall.
Hello.
And then I have Drew Baby. And then I have Iris.
Hello.
Gilly, my bad. Gilly.
It's all good.
Peace and love. How is everybody this evening?
Doing all right.
Okay, and we have the bubble DDH.
Bloop. Right. We'll do the bubble effect.
Anyways, so I want to talk about listen, hear between the lines. Kendall, what do you think that means?
I think what it means, it could be either a statement or something that's misunderstood for what we try to comprehend with communications.
Okay. Gilly, what do you think that stands for?
I think it touches a lot of different areas. I mean, there's body language experts that have dedicated their entire career to reading between the lines. I think there's people they're more tuned and for various reasons, sometimes for just higher levels of empathy, sometimes it can be a trauma response. But I also think that it's important to be able to establish better connections with people, to be able to really get a deeper understanding and connection and vulnerability with people is if you're able to read between those lines and dig more and ask the right questions.
Good answer, Gilly.
Okay.
Good answer, Gilly.
Drew Baby, what do you think listen, hear between the lines mean?
And welcome. I hope.
He's still not here yet. He is at work though, and he's technically not supposed to be on, but he's on. So every now and then he will let his mic be unmuted if there's nobody in the room.
My apologies. I was trying to get my stream to work.
Oh, okay.
I had to get off the store Wi-Fi for it to go off of the mobile network.
Oh,
it was not liking the Wi-Fi.
Greedy, bougie. So, what do you think? Listen, hear between the lines means.
Listen for the story that is untold, I guess.
Okay.
Nice perspective.
So I want to talk about real quick before I hand the mic over to Henry. And then I'll say what I wanted to say though. When I thought of listen here between the lines, I was thinking people listen, but do they really hear? And I don't mean hear with just your ears. I mean with your heart too, with compassion. Hear of having an understanding of both things. In between the lines is looking for the body language. Look for, any implication that it's more than what they're really saying. Really, really listen. Listen with compassion. Listen with intent, not to respond, but to overstand. So when I say listen and hear between the lines, I was thinking that, it's also a song. I didn't know it was a song, but it's also a song or a band. Something when I Googled it, it come up a band.
Well, I didn't know that. You should
Yeah.
have researched that more. You
I
should have let
know.
me know. All right,
It
we'll get
says,
back to you on
yeah.
that one.
So, but at the end of the day, I want people to have more compassion because it's more than just that. It's there's a deeper issue to a lot of things, and just because they're not telling you all doesn't mean they're really not telling you all. If you cared, you would understand that. And then, Drew, baby, I want you to talk about what happened the other day with your comment about autism awareness.
Oh yes, there's some hickeys there.
Or maybe it wasn't autism awareness. I don't remember exactly what it was about.
So
He may have to mute his mic every now and then because he is, like I said.
we can most certainly be patient.
And
We're glad he's on.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was it. It was I had shared something with a puzzle piece, and everybody was saying that they were offended by that symbol or something. I'm like, look, there's no need to be offended when somebody's just trying to show love and support. It's literally just a shape, just a symbol. Why be offended by that?
And I liked it, and I shared it with the symbol of the puzzle piece on purpose because I knew that's exactly what it was, because you didn't use the right one for autism. But it doesn't matter, what symbol you're using. You're supporting something that's bigger than that. But people want to get on you because they're offended by the symbol. Henry,
Yeah, it was silly in my opinion.
very, very.
About that, I was thinking about it too. I mean, symbols are important. If you're labeling a box of howitzer rounds or something, or like radioactive material, symbols become drastically important. However, whether it was wrong or not, maybe there's a better way people can go about saying, "Oh, there's a close to symbol," or whatever. Instead of jumping down throats. I think that's a commonplace now, is to react adversely.
It wasn't like it was a swastika under autism awareness, or a cross with someone's body on
No.
it. I'm just saying at the end of the day. So Henry, what is up with the title to you?
Listen here between the lines. So yeah, reading between the lines is looking at a deeper meaning on something, because there's things are deeper. There's face value, and then there's what the hell is actually going on. And the listening part is interesting. I've been trying to actively listen to people more. I have really, really bad ADHD, and it's hard for me to focus for a long time. People are like, "Why do you look off to the side or whatever?" And it's just because I'm trying to focus. But I find it hard to listen to people nowadays. I think people are kind of starved for communication in some aspects. I don't think Facebook gives everybody the communication and body language that we really crave, and everybody's really attached to their phones lately. So maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like communication has changed drastically. Well, people will overshare and overshare and overshare, and I obviously have been guilty of it. Um, but I don't know if people listen.
What happened? What happened yesterday?
You don't know what happened? I was waiting for the podcast to devolve.
No, I just want to know what happened yesterday.
Is that really what it's about?
Yeah.
So I was pissed off yesterday, and anybody and anyone who showed support to me. Sorry if I didn't reach out back to you. I did not do anything yesterday except play video games all day. That's all I did, because I couldn't stop crying anytime I slowed down, looked at anything. I had a friend, someone who I didn't even know for a long time or that well, but they had came to me. She came to me with drug and alcohol advice and depression advice, and it'd been a real hard life. I don't necessarily want to disclose who it is right now until I feel comfortable with all of that. But they they quit the game, okay, and they said, I appreciate your music and stuff, and they reached out to me, and I reached back to them, and I just talked to them for a long time one day after commenting back and forth on Facebook, and I realized that the situation was really hard for them, and it really messed me up.
So what happened though the day before that? What happened the day before that and that comment of you talking about addiction and about people getting recovery and going through recovery? Because you posted of one of our reels, we were talking about recovery and how as addicts, even though we have healed from our not even healed, even though we had control over our addiction, yet we still have the addiction. It's just in a controlled state. Doesn't mean it will ever leave. And it gets dark and heavy at times. And we were talking about that. And someone made a comment because you posted that. And what was the comment that they made?
I,
Without putting who in.
now you're gonna have me potato salad. I don't want to do that.
No,
right
without
off.
putting who in. Just
Oh,
what
I'm not gonna
happened.
put any names in. I'm not gonna put any names in. I did a clip of our show where we were talking about addiction. I was talking about what it feels like. I was telling a loved one that I felt like I would never be happy without drinking in my life. You know, that was my delusional mindset about addiction. And it was absolutely false. I have way more fun even in the bad days when I'm sober. I process it. But someone came on and got into a little back and forth with me and ended up saying, you know, you should stick to music or whatever, stick to music and teaching music. For one, I don't like teaching music. Music's really personal to me. It's intimate. I love it. And I've been known to show people some chords or something, but I would never be able to handle teaching music. I don't want to teach that anyway. And I got really pissed about it because the next day I checked into my friend, you know, to see if they were okay, right? And they weren't. They weren't. Why do I talk about addiction all the time and why I'm trying to make a name for myself in the recovery community is because I've seen a lot of shit. Brought people back. I've seen it, the other thing happen, and I do it so that doesn't happen. So I can minimize those horrible situations where people decide that the drugs and addiction take over. And I got pissed off mostly about minimizing that. I should stick. All my music's about addiction and recovery, and I'm more than that. I can do whatever the hell I want on my platform. And it's not about that because that was carved into my fucking soul when I got sober after my liver shut down. I was pissed off about it. I really was. I let it affect me. But it was more the circumstances and everything that just happened with it. And with my friend and how well, I want to bring up other points about it later, but I guess I've been rambling long enough, but that's what was going on with that.
Kendall, have you had a moment where you've seen that people don't really listen or read between the lines and they jump to a conclusion of whatever is on their mind?
There's multiple topics I could bring up too. When it comes to not wanting to listen or just not wanting to deal with it, they just get shunned out, or I get told off, or misused, or verbally abused in different terms of situations I'm dealing with daily. And it's just one of those things where how do I react with it, you know? And I learned how to back down and just stay quiet, say something when I need to, when I don't.
I can feel that. I can feel that. And that's what Henry does a lot too. And we're slowly getting him out of the shell of that because what he has to say matters. And who cares what people think he should stick with and not stick to? Because at the end of the day, it's Henry's life. And if he makes a difference in one person's life, then he's done his job. Gilly, same question for you. Have you also witnessed what people have said things without reading between the lines, and you and I know you personally will relate to that because there's a lot of times where you too have spoke and called out for help and people have overlooked that.
Yeah, and I think that it can happen for multiple reasons. For instance, sometimes when people are going through things, it may be hard to articulate what's going on, particularly if they have any sort of social anxiety. You mentioned autism earlier at the beginning of the show. There are lots of things that can interfere with communication, either receiving or giving. If somebody has gone through a lot of abuse or betrayal or things like that, it does things to the brain. It alters the brain. And so things may be foggy, and maybe things are foggy because they were set up to be foggy, because things were hidden from, and information was hidden. And maybe they're foggy because the part of the brain that's being affected is your logic center, and your ability to make conclusions, and your ability to remember things clearly. And so you may be doing your best to articulate what you're going through, but it's obvious for somebody who's really listening to see under the surface that no, there is more. And you could be really instrumental in helping somebody if you're able to read between those lines. And contrary to that, you can be really harmful to somebody if you assume that you've read between the lines, or you take something at face value without really reading the larger energy or emotion, and begin to address something in them that maybe didn't need to be addressed, or that can be harmful or damaging to them. Because at the end of the day, it's hard not to let the way that others react to you harm you, if they're reacting negatively. And it's hard not to carry that out as almost an assumption into other scenarios for people that's happened to a lot. And it's also hard when you're somebody who feels a lot of emotions, and you're feeling something in between the lines, but you're not necessarily good at connecting the pieces. You just feel the feeling, the energy, and you don't want to either be stonewalled or met with confrontation if it's somebody who's purposely doing it. But you also
Oh,
Shit,
she
you
froze.
froze.
are hurtful, or make things awkward unnecessarily.
No, that's
That's
true. That's true. SGF Graham, welcome, family, welcome. So, can you
Peace,
relate?
peace.
Can you relate? Or first, let me know what you think of the title. Listen and hear between the lines.
Um, uh, being able to read between the lines is very important if you're dealing with a lot of broken people, because most of the time they don't even know how to express themselves, and they almost want you to understand without them going through the whole whatever they're going through. But I will say that it also rides the fine line of assumption. Case point, literally today, this person was like, "Hey, can I talk to you after work?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they was like, "Hey, I've noticed, past couple of weeks you've been going through some family issues and stuff." I was like, "Okay." And she was like, "And the other day you smelled like ammonia when you walked past me." And I was like, "Huh?" And she was like, "I know when people go through stuff, they'll do like stuff like meth and stuff." And I just looked at her and was like, you looked at me and you thought that I do any type of drug?" Like I was like, "Look at me," and you
oh no, you cut out.
Oh, he froze.
Oh, they're shutting us down.
Damn
Okay.
it.
I was compelled. I was compelled. That's Jeff. You get that back. I want to hear the rest of that story.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
can definitely relate to people accusing me of being on things that I would never even touch.
Yeah.
no, this
Um,
happened to me recently. I agree too.
Oh yeah.
I was on the show and this lady come on, even Henry, asked me if I was doing something other than marijuana,
Yeah.
and I've never. And he said that because of my happiness, because I was overly happy that it looked like I was intoxicated off of something that was not normal. And another lady came on and she said the same thing. And she was like, that's very unprofessional of you being on there inebriated like that. I was sober.
Kimberly's my Jay of Jay and Silent Bob, or Silent Bob and I'm Jay. Whatever way it is, I will call out my friends too. I'm like, hey, Kimberly, you look flying. You're flying. I did. I called you out, not out of a place of judgment, out of a place of worry. I still haven't pinpointed how you can get that high without drugs, but Kimberly does not do drugs. I live with Kimberly, I swear.
I've
She
never
doesn't.
done nothing serious in my whole entire life besides shrooms, and that's a different kind of journey. The thing is, if it's not created by the earth, I promise you, it's not going in my body. From hair, from shampoo to deodorant to toothpaste, I
Ain't kidding.
trust and believe. I don't even wear shoes. So if it is not from the ground, I promise you, I am not intaking it
Real talk.
mentally, physically, emotionally, any kind of aspect. I don't even drink, so I will not. I mean,
I believe that.
I've never even ate ramen noodles. So I mean, at the end of the day, I'm being so real. I've never had Kool-Aid. I've never drank Mountain Dew. There's things that I will not put inside my body intentionally because it is not from the ground. I will go out and eat dandelions. I would have never ever done anything serious with my life like that. I was a mom my whole life,
Well,
and um, it's it's sad that people can assume something of you just by glance. Never knew this lady anywhere a day in my life. I don't even know if she ever supported the show.
I just called you out.
Just a glance. Henry, well, screw Henry anyhow. What the hell?
I'm not always nice.
No.
I relate to what SGF said about the being accused of drugs and what you said because, my teeth look like they're on like season 8 of The Walking Dead. They just got bad teeth. So I got called out in jail too. They're like, you in here for meth? I'm like, no, drunk driving. But thank you. My poverty teeth. So I've been called out multiple times on that. And look, I've only smoked meth a few times. Okay, never got hooked on it. My alcohol was a drug of choice.
They're like, oh, you're losing weight. You're
Sucks.
extra happy. I don't know. It was a many of things because I was really joyful, Julius above. I was just on another cloud. I was in love and I was accused. So, Gilly, what was your instinct where people assumed without really knowing?
Oh, I've had multiple, but I think the most traumatic was after I found out that I had been being smeared for about a year. And in the meantime, I was being abused and gaslit, mostly psychologically and financially and more at home. But what they would see was my reactions to his behavior, and then they'd line it up with the things that he was accusing me of doing, mainly drinking, doing drugs. I was somebody who didn't even let alcohol in my house.
Man, everybody's freezing up today. Gil, you still there? Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
Oh, but it was but he would take pictures of like old prescription bottles and send them to people, and I never abused my prescription. I never, I was on meds for ADHD. But between the way that he was able to get me essentially into a panic attack or emotionally dysregulated at anytime he wanted to, along with the smear campaign that nobody was saying anything to me. They were just listening to what he said and then using when I would cry or panic as backup to his story. And that was probably the most damaging time. I lost neighbors that I had had for 19 years, whose children I watched and tutored, and friends, genuine friends and family because of that. So that's probably the biggest time. I also tend to be just sort of weird, and I I used to be pretty big energy, and at least in certain social settings, but I didn't drink, and people assumed that I drank. But no, that was just me sober and let out in public kind of thing. So
Hyperactivity can be mistaken for all kinds of drug use.
right. Um and I think just with some of the stuff that I've gone through with grief, and I think that people's reaction sometimes to certain mental illness or mental health issues can be mistaken for drugs. And although my biggest mental health issue has been trying to deal with trauma and with abuse, it made me all over the place sometimes. So particularly when I was, away from my kids and I felt like I was in a safe situation, to sort of lose it. Um, so yeah,
No, it's valid.
not help. Oh,
Yeah.
and I will say, people assume things about the family court system too, including that women have this hierarchy in courts. It is not true. At least not now, at least not in the courts that I dealt with. And I um I don't think that they know how easy it is for a malignant ex-parent or ex-partner to alienate the other partner from their children. Of course, he played
You froze again.
a woman whose whose ex-husband has the kids for whatever reason. They assume that you must have done something terrible, including things like been an excessive drinker or been on heavy drugs or something about my lifestyle, when none of the things were true. I was Susie Homemaker. So
Ask Jeff Graham, finish your story, and I get it, Gilly, for real.
Yes.
Oh, I thought I did. What was the last thing you heard? I don't know when it froze up.
You said to her, and it looks like I would be somebody that does meth.
And that's what we've been talking about for the last 10 minutes.
Oh, my bad.
we
I
all
was like,
can relate to being accused of being on meth.
Yes.
Yes.
oh, this was definitely my first time or whatever. I was like, meth has ammonia in it. What the?
So
Oh.
I have no clue, but so I wanna take a minute, and Drew, baby, can you relate to someone assuming something about you without just jumping to conclusions, without asking, just going off of how you look or how you act?
And you can pipe in sometimes if you get a free chance. We're not
Yes.
gonna be mad.
Absolutely, same thing.
Oh, see, we're all a bunch of non-meth heads. That's the problem.
Yeah, I was super skinny. I still weigh the exact same as I did in 8th grade. Everybody thinks it's because of drugs. Definitely not.
I got that too.
Crazy.
Weren't we both in the Port Huron school systems too, Mr. Baby?
Hey, so was I, but that has nothing to do with
right.
it. It's not the water.
They were a fun little place.
So I want to do a couple more things before I let Henry take over, but I want to introduce Drew Baby to everybody on the panel. If you guys tune in on Twisted Radio, been hearing Drew Baby. SGF Graham, you need to link up with Drew Baby and make some music.
Okay. I need to check his music out.
Yeah, we play it every single episode. I had a whole album that I was playing to an episode. Dope lyric.
Yeah, I
Lyricist.
fuck with it, baby.
Yes.
Sometimes I want to be in a good mood, not angry.
And it's not
Not
even
everybody.
it's not even just a dope lyricist. Lyricist. My goodness. It's not even that. It's the fact of that it uses humor a lot of times in the music.
He does what?
Uses humor sometimes in his
Oh
music.
yeah. Good, cool.
Yeah.
Kendall.
So yeah, Kendall. Kendall, you need to do something with Drew Baby.
Okay, will
Everybody on
do.
the panel, everybody on the panel is an artist except for myself, and everybody should work with Drew Baby for real.
So
I want to talk about this real quick, and it's changing this tone a little, then again not, because when someone puts out a cash app and says they need help or donations or anything like that, and I put it in the comments, that a lot of people assume because they're just taking advantage of the situation. There's deeper and bigger things, and we have this that we want to raise awareness to. This is a fellow artist. His name is Hendro, and this is his son, and his son has been had, I want to say, 3 surgeries since he was born, and has been in the hospital in the ICU, NICU unit ever since he was born. And I want to say it's been over a month and a half, and it's getting hard for them. They've transferred to different hospitals, different states. It's getting hard for them to be able to just stay at the hospital with the bills and medications and everything just for the baby. And he hasn't even been able to come home yet. So, and this is his son, Hayden. So, I just want to take a moment out, and I'm gonna keep this and play it at the end of the show with our ending song. And I just want people to be aware that, sometimes when you see a cash app, they're not because they just want your money. Sometimes they need help. And when you have a child, you don't think that your child's going to have surgeries when it's first born. Nobody wants that. So if you guys want that, it's in the group chat too. But anyways, I'm going to let Henry.
They don't mind if we share it on our pages.
Not at all. Not at all. And it's also on my cover. And that's a
Alright.
dope artist too. You need to get a hold of Hendro. A very dope artist. I'll send you his information so you can hear him. He's actually pretty good.
Okay, bet.
Okay, Henry. A little bit of potato salad.
a little bit of potato salad. I was kind of getting into what everybody was saying. The accusatory stuff really quite bothered me growing up. I guess it doesn't now because I can't change a lot of things, or at least I'm working on it. What's that potato salad about?
Well, let's read these comments real quick,
Let's read
okay?
some comments. I don't feel like doing that. People wondering what the hell I'm talking about with potato salad.
That's all right.
It's all right.
So, we're gonna say "fuck him" is today's quote. Fuck him. So, we'll start with this one.
Kendall Cobb, being sexually accused is another thing with people.
This one.
It's definitely. People try to read between the lines and can't fucking read.
By Ty
By
Lewis,
Mr. Ty Lewis.
who's also another dope artist.
Yes.
That's Big Ty.
Big Ty. I feel like a lot of people choose to be sad.
That's true.
And why does it matter what people think, though?
And it honestly doesn't, but a lot of people, honestly, and that's just me. And a lot of people, even though it doesn't matter what people think, a lot of people actually use that. They really live on that, especially on social media.
I think if you get into patterns of choosing to be sad, it's not necessarily your fault all the time. Maybe you get into patterns, and it burns into your subconscious that misery and being sad is the way to be. It just becomes so commonplace that you function like that. It can be applied to a lot of different things. I guess how you calculate whether someone's doing it for clout or they're really just sad. I spent a lot of years pretty sad myself.
Me too.
I can relate to it.
Me too.
Well, and there's also chemical imbalances. There's also neurological things that can contribute. So I think that we got to be careful in terms of making that a blanket statement. I think that most people, even if they would quote unquote choose to be sad, I think there's more. I think there's reading between the lines to do there, because nobody would choose if they believed that happiness was a thing to be sad, or I mean, further, if they choose to be sad, then they're happy, and so they're not really sad. So I don't know. I think that sad. I don't think that a lot of people. There's a ton of people that are just choosing to be sad. I think there's more going on.
I wanted to tackle that and some of the other comments too. I do appreciate Ty jumping on. He usually has a more, how the hell do I put it?
He's a clown.
No, I don't. I'm
Yes,
not
he
going to call
is.
anybody a clown. I
That's
like
my brother.
Ty.
You could tell him he's clown. He clowns
He's-
around a
We'll
lot.
say he's clowning a little bit, but he also tries to prove like serious points. He is in the debate 100%.
Always in the debate.
What does it matter what people think, though? He says. And Ty, man, have you ever had a situation where it doesn't inherently, we choose to, and we got to get the mental fortitude, but you could be at a low point, right? I guess what bothered me about this particular situation, just personally, why the hell not, is I worked so hard for Unseen Twisted Truths. I'm years into it.
Go
Hell
on.
of a lot of work. Heck of a lot of people I talk to on the regular about addiction. You know, I don't disclose that information because it's in an anonymity. I see an enemy. No, yeah, an anonymity. So it was at a real low point where I'm just like, you know what, fuck it. I was already thinking, what are the pros and cons of this? You know, I'm taking serious thought out, and then someone can interject something that just really shatters your perception and your whole worldview and your self-esteem. And I think what's more important is we do have to be steadfast in how we handle those types of things. I guess, for instance, I took a day to play video games and think about my friend and process everything and hug my combat knives and stuffed animals. And you know what? I'm sitting here on the podcast talking about it, so that's good. But it did affect me and it made me angry. So instead of hiding about it, I talk about it.
And like I want to say when I said that my brother was a clown is the fact that he doesn't take a lot of things serious because he sees how people are with life and he just wants to enjoy life and be happy. He's got a beautiful wife, beautiful family, you
It's
know.
dope.
He's just extremely happy at all times. And when people come at him negatively, he turns it around in humor. So
I'm going to read what SGF Graham
Go
says
ahead.
here. I also want that makes me think of a topic, and I don't want to forget it branching off of this. SGF Graham. I definitely think some people choose to be sad.
yes,
Yes. I definitely think so.
the
Twice.
same. Okay.
He's damn sure of that.
Because it's true.
I've realized that people who, I don't want to say have had privileged existences, but pretty decent lives, I guess, in comparative structure to other things, kind of have a hard time relating to people that go through family traumas. You guys think that's a fair estimate? Or have you met anybody like that, Kendall?
Say it again.
People who haven't gone through trauma have a very hard time perceiving of what traumatized people go through, and sometimes it can
Oh
be
yeah,
irrational to
yeah.
them. And do you guys have any experience with that, or
Same
personally,
thing
or
with
understand
addiction.
it? And
Same thing with
addiction,
addiction.
yeah. Well,
Most
it's
people that have never been addicted to things have no clue what it is to be addicted.
no, they don't. And then they say things. One last thing about the comment. The comment came from somebody who I've seen drink and drive, and they kind of view sobriety and recovery as unnecessary. And I've heard also some people I know refer to recovery as weakness and being a man if you can't handle liquor and stuff. And these are kind of systematically, I've noticed, placed things on masculinity and drinking, and it's kind of insane to me. And that's why I like doing what I do, to talk about what those are. So I guess you can answer either one of those questions. The first one being, do you know anybody who has no clue about trauma? And the second one, how do you feel about the second thing I said about how people totally don't realize how bad addiction is? And we're going to Kindle.
Well, I think when it comes to, so sorry.
So
So sweet.
Oh.
Kendall has an issue with boundaries. She's trying to set up healthy boundaries and remove what is not of her. And a lot of people around her is not giving her that.
I apologize about that.
That's okay. Oh, Kendall, dear.
That's my family for you. It's just one of those things where it's always knocking on the door every 5 minutes. So I'm like, oops, sorry, my bad. I'm working here. But question is, or the statement was, yes, it comes to a lot of situations where people either want to understand or they choose not to, for how we deal with a whole bunch of situations that we're dealing with on a daily basis. So it's just one of those things we got to learn how to deal with.
That's true.
That's true.
Gilly?
Gilly?
I can't say I've ever met anybody in real life that has never had to deal with some sort of trauma. I mean, trauma can range, and pretty much as a human, you're not going to be immune. Somebody's going to get sick. Somebody's going to get bullied. Somebody's going to lose a loved one, or somebody's going to go through some sort of natural disaster, or abuse, or family things. I mean, I don't. I think that trauma at some point is a universal thing that we will all face. Now, I do think that there are people who have never experienced perhaps repeated trauma that happens on a regular basis, that is consistent, that causes stress, that causes overwhelm. Um, and those things are on a spectrum too, poverty being an example of something that would be sort of a repeated trauma, as far as the stress. And however, I do see online a lot people who are, at least by appearances, and they design their platform, so it's by their design, live these lives that most of us can't really relate to, and whether it's because of money or because of this great adventure or this whatever, it seems as though they're the ones saying the most about that
Yikes.
traumatized people choose not to live this glamorous life that I'm living, or this perfect whatever that I am doing. So in
Before
real
you
life,
get too
no.
far, before you
Huh?
get too far, before you get too far, I want to shoot on that onto that message.
So what?
I want to talk onto that message before you go too far off of it, about maybe it's the fact of that you said that, and I liked how you said that a lot of people have dealt with trauma, and so there's not hardly anybody who hasn't in life. But at the end of the day, I think that it's more important that a lot of people deal with it different. I think that I deal with death, if I can say that, differently than Henry would deal with it, differently than Gilly would deal with it. And that's just an example. I'm not saying it I'm saying in general, people deal with things differently. So to tell somebody this is how they should grieve, or this is how they should heal, or this is how they should feel about a situation is crazy to me, because everybody deals with it differently. Your trauma and my trauma may be similar, but how we deal with it is differently.
Right. Suffering's relative.
And the fact that when someone says, oh, this is how I would handle it, I can't tell you how I would handle walking in your shoes, because they weren't meant for me and they won't fit me.
Mhm.
Promise you. They're meant for you. That is your I can't say that my life is worse than somebody else's. I can't say what I had to overcome and what I had to heal from and grow from is way worse than Henry's, because I'm not Henry. I'm not going through Henry's emotions and feelings and living in Henry's shoes to know exactly how Henry should react to how Henry reacts. It's not fair for someone to assume that someone shouldn't act a certain way because they wouldn't act that way. Same thing with healing and addiction. You can't tell somebody how they should act when they are an addict or they're trying to talk about recovery. Just because you don't want to get sober doesn't mean that somebody doesn't. And if we can help one person see how precious their life is, it's not quitting. It's saving a life. Because every single day, someone's unalived because of a drug or alcohol or a mental illness
Or someone's choices to do it. That's what bothers me a
or
lot.
someone's choice to do it. I know a lot of people have lost parents at a young age because they liked drinking, or they like doing drugs, or they like doing other things. I don't know what I can and can't say, but at the end of the day, life is hard for everybody. Who are you to tell somebody what they should and shouldn't do? Go ahead.
Oh, I still want to go around.
I just wanted to say that before I forgot. SGF Graham.
Oh, Gilly, were you done, Gilly? Because I think they were both good points from both of y'all.
No, I think that's good, and I like the point that you followed up with, Kim, as far as the way that people process it. And it's not only just the way that people process it. Sometimes when people have been through repeated traumas, they've already done all the things that you're advising them to do, and sometimes it just doesn't work. And that becomes a sort of thought pattern in a person's mind is, look, I've done it, it's not going to work. So
On that note, though, just because it didn't work then doesn't mean it won't work now. Always try.
oh, absolutely, it's not a good thought pattern, but I do
Right.
understand how that thought pattern gets there. And
Yes.
you can say that it's not real, you can say that it's not true, but if it's in your brain, it's in your brain. And some people just need a little more hand holding.
Yes. I get that now.
Yeah,
I can receive that.
y'all made good points.
Do you want to ask Jeff Graham the same question?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask the whole panel a question. So, yeah.
Same question.
Well, it ended up being a two-part question. The first part of it was, how do you relate to, or can you relate to the fact that some people don't understand, severe trauma or trauma? And if you've met anybody like that personally, that was what I asked. And the second one is how people view addiction as not there, and recovery as kind of a state of weakness or not necessary. If you had anything to add onto that, I would like to know.
First part, yeah, I know several goody two shoes that never went through nothing in life, and their dad may have, and their dad put them in a good position. Every parent strive to do that or whatever, and I cannot talk to them about trauma because the answer is just something simple to them. Oh, you just gotta. It ain't no you just gotta. You don't think I would have just did it? So yeah, I can't talk to nobody that hasn't experienced drama because to them it's a simple answer because they have no idea what you're talking about. Addiction, going to get help, rehab, or anything like that. Yeah, I said several podcasts that when I was out there making my money another way, when I stopped, I actually took the biggest buyer and took him to rehab. And then after he finished, I took him back home in West Virginia. But so I don't think that's a weakness at all. I think it's a weakness when you own it and you recognize that you need to get off, but you still don't. That's when I consider it a weakness. Like once you recognize that this is hindering you, but you still don't take the steps it takes to get to the next step, that's when I consider it a weakness.
Absolutely. You end up living in insanity.
Yeah.
And of course, Drew, baby, if you're there and can answer, I'd love to hear the same thing from you. You may be busy. You may be. Sorry, I realize that people will kind of come at you, and in terms of listening, when you're in a state of panic or something, and maybe you want space. Maybe all you want is to be alone and have space. And sometimes people come up to you and go, "Oh, you just need to breathe. Just breathe here. Just listen to me and just breathe, and you're gonna be okay." And I know people mean well, but listening between the lines is so people don't get hurt. Like, no, I just need you to get away from me. So now everybody's unhappy. The person who had to say that, the person saying just breathe. So it's okay to try and comfort people, but I think that's another aspect of it where we try to over comfort at certain points. And I realized that was kind of weird. Really pop back on. I think that's important.
Well, I will say that at my job, and it's funny because as a male, I am like literally the only black male. Like it's another black male, but he acts like the teacher on South Park. They'd be like, okay, like he acts like him or whatever, with his whole weird demeanor. Like everybody laughs at him, asking him why he acts like that. But um I cannot come in there with a semi-sad face, or it's like everybody is expecting the angry black man or whatever, and I get sick and tired of it or whatever. Like they're good workers, but for some reason they all assume, and it's the rest of it is like three black girls, two Hispanic girls, and the rest is white people or whatever, white women. Um, oh my goodness, they feel like they got to pull me to the side and, are you okay? Do you need the day off? Do you need to do this? I'm like, what are you talking about? Are you, the look on your face, the look I have on my face now is, what the hell are you talking about or whatever, like now you're about to start making me angry because now I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about or whatever, with your assumptions or whatever. So I walk around with a fake look on my face, so I guess people can't read between the lines with me. Cause I always walk. They're like, "Oh, you're just always smiling," and I'm like, "Yeah." So y'all leave me alone. Whatever. I gotta walk around like this cheesy guy. Whatever. Like it's weird.
Because you have resting angry black man face. I don't think that's fair.
That's speaking of the Angry Black Men show, the Angry Black Men. That's why he called his show that,
Yeah.
and that's why he come up with that
Oh,
name,
I've met
Ambien,
him. He's very nice.
because of how he looks. He looks like he wants to punch you all the time, and he's the most lovable, caring, funny. But because of his, and because he's been in prison for so long, they think because he's institutionalized and that he's angry all the time, and he isn't. But yet, how his demeanor is when he's just in a comfortable state, they act like, that he's out there as Jeffrey Dahmer and that he's just angry.
Exactly.
Well,
That sucks.
it just shows that, people say that racism is still not there, but it does. It exists as an undercurrent, including the stereotype of the angry black man or angry black woman, or spicy Latina, or whatever we do, and that still underlies the current. And it's very hard when somebody has an assumption about you based on things that you, just because you exist and because they've heard propaganda or stereotypes or seen images over and over, or if it happens in your personal life, perhaps you're the scapegoat, and so you are almost made to feel like you are responsible for making other people comfortable with you.
It's there's okay, we can talk about whatever we want on the podcast. Let's go real potato salad. There is small things like that. Like I know somebody. Well, yeah, mentioned my friend Kimberly before. I was friending Kimberly to people, and I'm like, "Oh, she got married," and then the person goes, "Oh, to the black feller." That fucking irritates me. Why does it gotta be we can back it up? We tried Danny. How about Danny? Remember the white guy from Pirates of the Caribbean? This is funny to me, and then people get pissed off about the reverse racism aspect of it, and it's right there.
So on our last show we did a thing, SGF Graham, you weren't able to come on, and we did a can you relate? And that Gilly said something about wearing two faces, or did you somebody said something about wearing two faces, having one face for work and another face for out in the public. And that's basically what it is. You have to put that fake face on for them, or they're going to come at you and assume something.
I have 3 faces. Well, I have 4 faces. I have one for a location in Georgia, one when I go back home in South Carolina, one for where I live at, and one for where I work at.
Damn.
And
I was,
that's crazy.
I was hoping
Like
one was
I don't like the person I have to be when I go home, but it is what it. That's why I don't too much go there.
I can relate to that too.
Oh yeah.
I can relate to that too. So I saw a thing that Kevin Gates that did. I don't know when he said it, but I don't care what people think of him. I really don't. At the end of the day, whether he has been here by selling a soul or not, that's not here nor there. It sometimes some people say things that make sense. It's very educational that makes sense. And he was like that before he gets on stage, he will go and practice his breathing and meditate and go to the theta brain to become Kevin Gates. And when he leaves stage, he has to do the opposite to remove himself. And I can relate to that because when I do chakra cleansing massages, I have to come into a different space. After I cleanse the room and cleanse myself, I have to come into a different space. And when I'm done after exchanging energy with somebody, I have to cut the strings literally, or I will feel attached to them still. So I can relate to that. When you go to a different place, you have to put on a different face. Now, when you leave those places, how hard is it to get out of that space that you had to put yourself into, though, SGF Graham?
When I go home, it's hard, but every other where is like light switch because it's not me. I'm only me. Like when I get in the room, when I get where I live or whatever, that's when I be me. Or it might be a few people at work that know the me, but I completely switch it off when somebody else come around or whatever.
Jim Carrey said he plays Jim Carrey all the time, including when he's not acting.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I've been watching that guy a long time. He's 100% that way. I related to him a lot when I was younger.
Well, Jim Carrey got blackballed now because
Oh,
he figured out everything, and now he's himself. And you go Google Jim Carrey and you just YouTube him. You'll be surprised this Jim Carrey that's out.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No,
Jim Carrey won't ever be back in Hollywood.
and he's in. I remember him going to the awards, and he was like, "It's just a distraction. They want you to pay attention to this, and this is irrelevant matter. Only exists when you give it attention." And I still believe that. I really, honestly, still believe that matter really does only exist when you give it attention.
Yeah,
Watch I Love You, Philip Morris. That's a good one. Nobody knows about that one.
With no, that's crazy how the universe works too. That's how come I know that things are already written out. That guy I dated for 9 years that was an alcoholic, his name was Philip Morris, and he texted me the other day and he said to me that the only time he quits is when he runs out of beer to go get another 12 pack.
And people sit there convinced that's happiness.
And I loved him more than I loved myself, and it was very toxic, and I was an enabler, and I had to leave it. And it was the hardest thing for me to do was to leave that. And it was the best thing I ever did.
Kendall Cobb, what's the best thing you ever did?
What was the question?
I just asked what's the best thing you ever did.
Oh, oh my goodness. There's a lot I could state right now. Being obedient towards myself and just doing better each day and go from there.
I did, but he.
No.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, Kendall. I got Kimberly talked to me during. I forgot to ask. I actually forgot to ask Drew the last question. I asked him, but I wanted to ask him again, but he sounded
And
really
see if he's
damn
back.
busy.
Drew, are you back?
He's been
No.
on.
Okay.
Oh, that's good, Kendall. Again, until
Still
we
here. I
learn.
just got customers in the store. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Are you able to answer that question? Or are you busy right now?
Give me like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. Gilly, what's the best thing you ever did?
Best thing I ever did. Create for human beings.
It's an accomplishment.
I think she froze. Okay.
Oh,
Did you stop at that, Gilly?
yes.
I always had these nicknames for my kids: Bigs and Littles, Bookends and Middles, and there is part of me that sometimes wonders if my book begins and ends. When I had them, and anyway, sure. I mean, I've done stuff before that. I've done stuff during that, and I've done stuff after that. I guess I feel uncomfortable answering that question.
I'm sorry, you don't have to answer that question.
Yeah, no. And I don't need, I think it's a great question. I, for whatever reason, personally feel weird. It almost feels like a brag or something. I don't know. That's a hard one for me to answer.
So I like asking it because people get really confused. It happens sometimes. We're not used to that. What about you, SGF? What's the best thing you ever did?
The best thing I ever did, I have to say, is working on the album that I'm working on right now. And I'm not saying it for no like promotion or nothing. This album, the last album, Prototype of a Ghetto Child, that was like me deciding I was gonna step away from the regular what's going on. I was gonna step more into me. This one was embracing really what I want to do. Well, and by embracing really what I do want to do with my music is transferring out into real life, as in I don't care what nobody have to say. Like I be at work dancing for no reason with the kids, and other adults be looking at me, and I'm like, I really do not care, or whatever. Like, so I will say that that's the best thing that's happened to me. Because I used to not. When I say used to, I'm talking about as of before working on this album. I still cared what people thought about how I carried myself. I still would work talking to the other adults. Yeah, I put the other face on because I don't want them trying to read me. But with everything else, I really don't care what they think. I walk down the street singing hard and with my head up in the air and fist bumping and stuff. Like working on this album has helped me not care what people think. So I say that's the best that I could think of right now.
That's awesome. That even answered the earlier question about what people think. I think personal accomplishments really end up outweighing that. If you let them. Good stuff. And
So, I have a confession real quick. Just to let you guys know, I'm going through menopause. So if I seem like I'm cranky or I start taking my clothes off, it's not because I want to be nude and I care what people think. I don't. At the end of the day, I'm on fire. And I just want to let you know, I'm over here dying. I got way too much clothes on. It's hitting me bad this week. But anyways, Drew baby, are you back yet?
we give him a second.
Yep.
Yay.
Perfect timing.
Okay, what was the question, Henry?
Oh man, there was a bunch of questions. Drew baby, do you know anybody who just cannot relate to people who went through trauma? SGF referred to him as goody two shoes. By the same merit,
Uh,
do you know? Oh yeah, go ahead.
I do want to say I think I'm guilty of some of the stuff he was talking about, being the one that says, "Oh, you just need to do that. Oh, you just need to do that." I think I'm guilty of that and should probably apologize for it. I've done that for sure.
That's amazing. I was like that too a lot of the time, and being accountable feels good. So thank you for that. No, you're.
And now the second one was what was the second
It
one?
was. Do you know people who totally disregard addiction as like either weakness or not there, not necessary? Like
There's
would come.
nobody that I know personally. No.
That's good.
And
That's
then
good.
what is your
What's the best thing you've ever done?
I'm gonna say had a kid.
Oh yeah.
what did that do for you?
Definitely fast tracked me into maturity. Made me buy a house and take life seriously.
There you
Do
go.
you take life seriously? Seriously?
Not always.
I think
That's
so.
important too. I think a healthy balance.
And I like that though, because those that take life seriously don't know how to have fun.
That's true.
So I like that you don't always take life serious, because sometimes you gotta say fuck it and laugh. Because if you really thought about how hard this really was and you really took it serious, you'd want to quit the game
Mhm.
because it can be depressing.
That's- Wish I had a fan for you.
It's okay.
No, that's great. Great answer. See, Drew jumps on and just nails it. Well, I appreciate all your answers.
I wanted to say real quick to Drew, baby, it ain't no need to apologize because at the end of the day, it is just that simple. But the part that makes it difficult is that most of the time the person is not in that position to do what's that simple.
Yeah, I
Where
definitely have a problem solver brain, and my mind always goes to this is the solution, regardless if it's true or not. It's like this is the solution. Let's fix it.
oh yeah.
The go-getting mentality.
I like that though. I too have that similar brain where I want to fix something, and it's the engineering skill within self, and I feel like, oh, we can just fix it by this way. And then I had my son, and my son as a grown man now will be like, just calm down, shut up, that's not it. It may work for you, but it don't for me. And that helped me honestly, because I was really bad. I was really bad. I was like the mother hen of everybody. And I always had everything you needed. Band-Aid, I got it. Toothpick, I got it. Whatever you need, I got it. And I had it all. And I thought I had all the answers too. When I realized that I don't have it figured out, and I'm okay with that. When my son said to me, I don't want to take advice from you, I was not offended, because I don't want to take advice from my parents neither. So I started thinking that mm, I get it. I don't see the world the same way he does. So why would he want to take advice from me? He goes and votes. Like, I will never. So I mean, I'm not mad, but at the end of the day, I learned that, even if I think I have the answer, it's not worth talking about, because a lot of people, I need to tell them this is what I think, and that this is just my opinion, and uh take it as you may.
Yeah. You. I don't like the term. You got to grow up. I
Mm.
do. It's kind of like that. People got their opinions about you, but you don't have to really do that. What does that mean to grow up? To change your mentality to something that's less childish?
I don't know. My son tells me it all the time. I need to grow up, and I don't know what he's talking about. At the end of the day, I have hot flashes right now, so like I don't want to grow up. I would like to go back the other way,
Uh-huh.
because why do I want to get older, and why do I want to have that mindset that this is how I'm supposed to be? I'm okay with being just the way I'm supposed to be.
One of the most influential lines, excuse me. One of the most influential lines in my personal life from a movie ever, and I'm gonna mess it up because I never remember anything verbatim, not even my own name. But
Me neither.
from from the Breakfast Club. She says, when you get older, your soul dies or turns gray or something.
I love her.
And that stuck with me. Like, out of all the movies, out of all the messages I've received, that was the one that seemed to like, can't do it.
That
But
was Ali Sheedy, I think. Yeah.
yeah.
The original goth girl there.
but I mean, there is a part of me that will always be young, and maybe people want me to grow up, and I don't know what that means to them. But yeah, I just I think it can be the killer of joy.
Mhm. Oh, I think we should force all the kids into the labor industry. Youth is wasted on the young. We should all be having a fun while they're building our infrastructure. No, maybe.
No.
They
Maybe.
yearn for the mines, right?
Maybe.
Well, I mean, so we grow up and we understand more things, and we therefore have more responsibility. And
Yes.
that's one thing. But I think that what a lot of people are talking about is remaining youthful, remaining playful, remaining open, remaining curious. And I can tell you firsthand, when those things die,
Oh yeah, it's
it's
terrible.
not so much fun.
No, it's not. Yeah, I heard someone told me you're either a liability or an asset. And that's really, really kind of brutal towards it, but it's true. Are you a liability or an asset? I mean,
I can be both, and I'm okay with that at the end of the day, because who's it bother? It's my life, not yours. So how am I affecting you? Am
I don't
in my presence will not touch your pocket. My presence will not affect your mind. My presence will not have anything to do with your growth in your life, in your purpose. So at when I was told that I was had a hippie mindset, and I was a not a freeloader. What is it called? Where I just
scumbag.
where I just where I just go and like stay at people's houses and flop on their couches, and I just
surfing.
couch surfing, where I was just free, and I want to live in a van and in a bus, and I don't want to own a house, and I don't care about having life insurance, because you can't use it, which you're supposed to use it while you're alive, but they make it set up where you think you can't. And I will never ever 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 be a problem to anybody but myself. So why does it matter what I do? I do believe the universe provides, and it will always provide for me. And I'm always going to think rainbows and butterflies. I had someone say to me, "You see things rainbows and butterflies all the time. Maybe you shouldn't." And I love that person to death. So that's not a attack on them. It's the fact of that if I rather see rainbows and butterflies, how's that hurting them?
I'm sure there's a college level dissertation on that, but I'm
I don't know. I don't think that me being happy all the time and trying to see the best in every situation, and not focus on the negative, and not focus on the hard times. And I really honestly see both sides to every situation. There's nothing wrong with that.
no, there's not. I mean, someone told me someone said my favorite phrase, which is you need to smile more. First of all, every time I do, people tell me I'm smoking meth, so I kind of am reluctant to. It's kind of a little drum roll there. But it bothers me when people say that. I finally figured out why, and they said, "Smile. You just want to make you smile. You should smile." And I looked at them and I said, "I like to embrace all of my emotions now that I understand them and I can process them. I love feeling a good sadness as much as I love feeling a good happiness. And as ugly as those feelings can be, when you understand them, you feel human. You feel right, and you get through it, right? And it's helpful. But I've never liked that. Don't tell people to smile more. They might have just gotten into a horrible domestic problem. They might be suffering at home. I don't know. I don't like it 100%.
Yeah, because you never know what they're growing through at that moment. They're probably actually just trying to keep it together for that, just to say hi to you.
Yeah. Not to mention, people don't smile with their mouths; they smile with their eyes.
That's in their heart.
Uh-huh.
Hence the reason for the topic of listen, hear between the lines, care about what you're hearing. Do you care really honestly if they smile, and if they don't smile? Why don't you ask them what's going on and how are they feeling instead of telling them to smile?
No, they switched it up a little bit and they said, "I was just trying to make you smile."
That's better.
Maybe that feels a little better. So there's an example, I guess, of how you can maybe lessen that blow. But yeah, don't force emotions on people. That feels horrible to me, and from other people I've talked to, it feels horrible to them too.
Cool Vibes introduces said emotional intelligence, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't have that emotional intelligence. SGF Graham, it's boggling me that someone ever said that to you, and I've never met you in person, but just knowing you and feeling your energy, I wouldn't assume that of you. But at the end of the day, they don't know you besides what face you showed them. What could you of man? I'm still boggled by it, honestly. Do you think that they would have asked you how you were feeling, that would have made a difference than assuming?
Yeah, it would have. Um, because after they said that, they wasn't getting no feelings out of me or whatever. I laughed at them. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it or whatever. Like I said, working on the CD, I done got to the point to where I really don't care. So it was like a wow. Okay, that's what you think about me. Okay, you must have some real camouflage meth friends or something. Whatever, but I'm not one of them. So
I've had those wow moments with somebody before. My sister, I love her. That's my baby. She needs to know that if she doesn't know that already. I tell her constantly. But at the end of the day, she said to me, "Well, I know you like to nitpick at people." And I tipped my head as if I was my dog, and I said, "Really?" And I want to throw my age in there, and the fact that I'm grown and mature, and I'm a grandma, all this other stuff. And then I just kept saying, "You really think that of me? I nitpick with people. I pick on people." I was like, "Wow." And that's how you know when people perceive something of you that is not of you, because of something they're dealing with, because of how they have that perception of seeing you before they even get a chance to even ask you or to talk to you. Hi, husband.
How you guys doing tonight?
Ah, Danny.
What do you think the
well,
title means, real quick?
Um, here between the lines. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that can mean to me. I will say that I heard what you guys was talking about earlier about people assuming things like when they thought you was on drugs or something like that. I had to struggle a lot with that with my dad because him thinking he kind of find out or thinking I was steal from him and stuff like that. And I'm like, I ain't never been a thief a day in my life. So, uh, I definitely can relate to that. I mean, but here between the lines, I mean, I don't know. I just can tell you that I definitely can relate to when people assume things about you. And it's mind blowing because it's not true of you.
Do you have a problem at times? Not a problem, but have you yourself have been guilty of saying something without really listening between the lines, without really hearing what they were saying, just because your first instinct was something totally opposite.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been guilty of that a few times in my life.
Same.
Drew Baby has said that he was guilty of saying this is what you should do, and it's that basically it's that simple. This is what you should do. Do you also feel that you could be guilty of that at times too? That you've pushed opinion upon somebody and told them what they should do, and it would be that simple without realizing that, without realizing.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And I've always taken that as is me just trying to help out or being a leader, not realizing that that might not be the best way to have that person. If that makes any sense.
No, it does. And then what was the other question about what are you happy for? What is your moment that you were
Oh, what's the best thing you've ever done, Danny?
yeah,
Mary Kimberly.
Oh shit.
whatever.
She goes, whatever.
And then what about the other thing?
Well, there's a bunch of things. Danny, do you think that people who maybe, let's say, haven't been through severe trauma don't recognize trauma, and can the same be said about addiction as well? People who haven't or don't recognize addiction, maybe it stigmatizes them. They have an addiction, they don't recognize it.
Well,
Know any?
yeah, absolutely. I've known people that see people that go through trauma or whatever, or depression, and they'll blow it off and say, "Oh, they just need to pray about it," or "Oh, they need to do this." The same thing with addiction, or they just need to stop, not realizing that it takes a little more. To me, in my perspective, how I look at it, than prayer. It takes a community. It takes people to back you up and support you. It takes a little more than just what the person what another person may view it as, and that's a lot of times that people thinking because they have went through it a certain way that this is the way that everybody else should go through it, even when it comes to addiction and stuff like that.
I appreciate that. That's a good answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank
Uh, I saw too many examples of that shit. It's really, I mean, when I grew up, some of the most prominent commercials I saw on TV that were beer commercials, and they're all, and actually I noticed this too. I've never heard anyone else bring this up. Like cool cigarettes, the menthols, they're really cool. They also pandered to musicians mostly. If you look up cool ads, it's always musicians playing it. But you get the beer, you get the Coors Light. You're gonna go to a water park with all your hot friends and have fun, and they shove it in your face. They make help for it wildly expensive and inaccessible, and then they kind of stigmatize it, and they got everyone convinced that it just seems crazy to me.
Before you got to go, husband, what's your positive message about the title, about the subject?
To just about the subject to pretty much, I think when it comes down to not hearing between the lines, to try not to force your opinions or anything on to others, without hearing between the lines and trying to see it or view it in a different situation. And even when it comes to knowing somebody going through trauma or going through something, to try to think outside the box to see if maybe you can relate to them instead of just passing judgment or something.
I appreciate that too. We're all a lot more connected than I think we realize.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I love you, husband. Thank you for tapping on and tuning in.
All right. I love you too, babe. All right, family. Love you guys.
Mwah.
Peace, peace.
I kiss everybody. I'm practically European.
Aha! Anyways, go ahead. You got me laughing loud for no reason.
Oh, that's okay. We're going on with positive messages. Oh.
Brother, Finito Beats. Brother.
Where's Finito?
Matthew, Henry, Harry, whatever. Will you please tell me what does read between or hear, listen here between the lines means to you? If you're still listening, my goodness, brother. But go ahead.
I didn't really. This has been kind of all over the place, but it's had a centralized issue. I get all over the place. I thought I was going to be all pissed off all day on the podcast today, but I wasn't. I guess I got that out of my system yesterday. I'm still pissed about certain things. I'm kind of tired of sugarcoating myself. If I said what I said, if I said what I want to say, I've always worried that I would lose friends or followers and all this shit. But I don't know. I can't. I can't care about that anymore. I don't think. I really don't. I really don't. I realize that a lot of people are saying certain things that I want to say in different cadences, and people don't really care. They still follow them. So I don't particularly like social media, but what I really, 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 really do like is talking to addicts and alcoholics about that. And I feel like if I'd have had less exposure to social media, dealing with all the shit, and less people coming at me and asking me all these questions and stuff, I maybe could have been there for the person that did the thing. And I got really bogged down in thinking about that because maybe I could have changed it. Maybe I could have changed it. I tried for what little I did, what I was able to accomplish with the time and resources I did. And I don't want to beat myself up over it. I just want to continue in a path of saying that one of the main reasons this happened is because they could not,
Potato salad.
was one of the main reasons this all happened is because they couldn't afford psychiatric medication or therapy. And they were isolated. And what do people sometimes do? They turn to whatever is going to give them happiness. And or whatever they think is happiness. And when I got bugged out about someone saying I should stick to doing other shit, fuck no. They're going to overcharge everybody for all this shit and kill us off with depression and sickness and overpriced help for it. And the people trying to help are overworked and stressed out to the point, then I'm not going to stop doing that. My inbox is always open. I don't care. If someone would have messaged me about drug and alcohol addiction yesterday in the pits of my whatever I was wallowing in, I would have answered them. I'm not getting badgered when I talk to people about it. I might get irritated with small talk, but if someone's talking to me about their addiction and getting better from it, it's never a wasted second in my book.
And I gotta say, I don't take what you experienced yesterday as wallowing, in my opinion only.
No,
I take it as in it was the straw that broke the camel's back. You felt defeated for a moment, not physically, emotionally, forever. Just that moment, because your whole objective is just trying to save lives, and you did save her life one time, or his life one time, her life one time, and the fact of the matter is, there was a reason you did at that time. For that, whatever moment you had to have at that time, then her purpose was served, and you can't always save them all.
I promised her one more day. She promised me one more day.
And she gave you a few one more days. Did she not? She gave you a few one more days. So you did your job that you were supposed to do when you were supposed to do it.
Yeah. That sucks.
And it does suck. And that's making not light of a situation. It's seen for what it really is. You honestly can't save them all if they don't want to save themselves. We already talked about that before on the show.
No, but and people are like, fuck it. They're like, you must make a lot of money doing that. Peer support. I'm like, no, I don't make anything.
That's
It's not
why you
about
do it.
that. I collect experiences from people. I'm about tired of fucking money too.
And it's not about that. You
It's not
don't do
about
it
that.
to gain nothing. You do it to help them gain. So It's not a you situation. It's very, very exhausting on you. I seen you after you spoke to her. When you did save her life the first time, you were drained. She took a lot out of you. But you slept good because you knew that she did not do it. She put the weapon down at the time.
It's hard as fuck for me to deal with. I wish I had a practice. I'm working towards it. I want to be on stage talking about it. It's hard for me to just talk about it singularly in a podcast. I want to do open talks about certain things. I've been through it, and hopefully I can reach more people like that. But never been about the money for me.
Chili Mo said
Be intentional with our actions.
yeah.
Energy vampires drain good people.
They do, but that she wasn't really an energy vampire at the time. She was
No.
lost, and when you're lost, you're looking for anything, and he would happen to be the beacon of light at the time.
I'm peer support specialist. That's what I do. I'm not going to
That's what it
change,
is.
stick to anything except what I do. Or else what? I can give people one more day, I guess, sometimes.
That's all that matters, though.
I'm not going to give people one more day.
But you did, and that might have made a huge difference in somebody else's life. That one day.
I just want people to see this delusion, It's delusion.
Not that easy.
It's not. It's not easy. I almost died.
Mm-hmm.
I was rolling around on the floor, biting my tongue off, and just having seizures, dying. Fuck it. I got a second chance. No one listened to me crying. I pulled myself up hard by my bootstraps and fucking worked at it. I don't relegate that to God whatsoever. That's something about my program that I try to run, is that you can use God. I specifically don't push that stuff on people. It kept me out of the program for a long time. If anything, you can roll with cognitive behavioral therapy aspects about it, but I'm not orthodox.
So, Kendo, what do you find every day at where you work? And it happens to be a church. Every day you work at this church and you're outside sleeping up contraband.
I do find a good variety of different evidence every single week when it's just frustrating to the point I was actually pretty upset with the ordeal for finding such evidence where I'm at a loss where like how am I supposed to go out about this without getting in trouble and trying to do my job for what I do. So it gets discouraging some days for how you want to see people to do better for themselves when they can't.
Yeah.
French iced tea. Hey, so that's another dope artist, Drew Baby. French iced tea's another dope artist. Another dope artist for real, for real.
It's a heck of a name too. I like it.
French iced tea. What does read between the lines or listen? Hear between the lines means to you if you're still active. And then everything twisted. Everything's twisted, fam.
Oh, greetings, Twisted Fam.
Oh,
That's some cool vibes.
greetings, twisted fam.
Nice, cool vibes.
So, Kendo, we're gonna wrap this up. What is your positive message about listening here between the lines?
I actually don't know. I'm actually at a loss with this one.
We can come back to you.
Okay.
Okay. Gilly.
You're not always going to get it right, but you can at least try. And at the end of the day, people do know when they've really been listened to and when they haven't, whether or not they say anything about it.
Very good.
Kendo, do you want to say yours now?
Okay. I did quote, be in the present moment. Don't give up so easily on hardships we face in life.
Okay. SGF Graham.
It's okay. Nobody knows everything.
I love that one.
Yep.
I love that one. Drew, at this moment, we say something positive about
Anything.
the title, kind of, just so that people can not feel alone. Do you have something?
I'm gonna use an old quote as well, but you should always listen to understand and not listen to respond.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Cool Vibes introduces. He said,
Give yourself grace. Quote from Kim.
"Aw."
Look at that. Hashtag.
And then I'm gonna do my positive message, and I'm gonna let Henry end it with his positive message.
Take your time. We got 7 viewers on this son of a bitch now. We should start doing this later.
So my positive message is, it's not heavy always. It's only heavy right in the now. 5 minutes from now, it will no longer be that now. It'll be a different now.
That did not take long, and I like it. I like it. All right, I guess that leaves me. You know, I'm sure I said this before, but when you're talking to people, respect their subconscious. Start trying to read between the lines on how people are behaving and how they feel. You know, you're talking to someone after a minute and they start folding their arms up. That means they're trying to protect their insides. It's a primal instinct, meaning they're agitated or feel threatened. And if someone says like 3 times, like, yeah, I just want to go and eat, or I need to breathe, or I need some space, I'm going to go and do this, pick up on that. Start picking up on those little subconscious things, that body language that people are presenting, because I don't know whether we're just all closed off or Facebook's neutered our emotional responses to everything, but a lot of people they don't want to tell you directly how they feel. We're worried about hurting each other's feelings. We want to coexist. And we can all coexist well if we're paying attention to that body language. Because people will tell you exactly how they feel by how they start moving and acting.
So this is what my brother said.
Oh, shit. Here we go. Finito beats. Kimberly L. Vertigan. It means that when you pay attention to the known, you can be distracted by the obvious. Not knowing what's between the lines is where truth and lessons reside. Be adamant on understanding what's not seen and can be key, and what's seen. Be adamant on understanding what's not seen can be key, and what's seen can cause distractions of oneself.
Yes. Yes. And we miss you. When you're ready, come back home. We love you, though. And thank you for tuning in always.
Loving your beats, too.
Yes. Yes. SGF Graham, if you need another person that does beats, Finito Beats does beats. Drew Baby, Finito Beats does beats.
Can you send me his link?
Yes, I can.
Appreciate.
Okay, you ready?
Am I ready? Yeah, we can end this.
Okay.
Did you want me to?
What
Oh,
he
wait.
said?
Finito beats. I damn sure am.
Good.
I like that.
All right. I'm going to put this up real quick one more time. And everybody share this, please.
Like and share the live here.
Yeah, and like and share the live. May your night be full of positive energy and high vibrations, peace and love. And let's listen to SGF Graham, Jewsby, and Jabrell. Take us out.
Let's get to the bottom of this one. Unspoken truths that I miss one. Tap into the minds of the people, rather acknowledge before I dismiss one. Atheists, Muslim, Christians, Buddhists, they all got usage. All got perspective, it's a collective. Get to the bottom where the truth is, where the heart's uncovered, where you detox from all of the lies you smothered. Where them tries to killed you, but with faith you recover. Yeah, peel off the makeup, we finna take off. Never said it'd be a cakewalk. Meditate till we charged up, execute goals regardless. Decalcify my pineal, breaking language barriers, we saw millennials. Planets passing age rotations, down me we owe, so down me we know. Sometimes we can be slow, that's why my ears open. Every drop you add could complete the ocean. Speak up, play your part too. Been vulnerable, it's an art tool. Reflect on all the Jews like torture. It's on you, tell the truth.
Yeah, we about to have a good conversation. Yeah. let's go. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. Listen. Yeah. Aim in the fit so you see in the mirror. Play with your focus and watch it get clear. Polish your crown, turn it up if you wear it. You live in the root, release what you're fearing. And watch it all rise, the righteous will hear it. They calling us twisted, I'm not even caring. Because as I've seen, the mind is too barren. They won't even heal it, they pass it to cheering. We over here healing, conversing and listening. Know that the truth isn't always appealing, but end it with healing and find your beginning. Frequency positive, what you receiving. Perception is up to you, what you believing. What you retrieving, mentally speaking. Life that they breathing, no words from a heathen. Don't know it all, but together undefeated. Conversation, rather want it, you need it. Could fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the trial with the students and teachers. All got a voice, we the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. Conversation, rather want it, you need it. Could fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the trial with the students and teachers. All got a voice, we the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. Hey. Yeah. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. Praying for truth cause the world is so fickle. Keeping my mental how clean as a whistle. Attention's a trap, they can lead you astray. Steering this ship through the storm and the haze. Real conversations are lost in the greed. Others get lost in the web that it weaves. Sift through the rhetoric, uncover schemes. Knowledge inherited, this is imperative. I got a lot on my mind and I'm sharing it. Apples to oranges, it ain't no comparisons. I'm the type that'll never break character. I'm the type to make memories and cherish them. Trust intuition and doubt of disparity. Pursuing the echoes of wisdom. Chasing that moment of clarity. Conversation rather one and you need it. Come fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the track with the students and teachers. All got a voice, who the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. Conversation rather one and you need it. Come fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the track with the students and teachers. All got a voice, who the ears that'll listen. Who the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. Huh?
It's on, you tell the truth.